evening, and welcome to Science and Sorcery, the show where we're constantly looking for a new producer so that I can fire Sam. This is the show where science communicators play Dungeons and Dragons. I am your dungeon master and your host, Dr. Adrian, and I am joined again by the currently not quite yet fired producer, Sam Langford. Are you repenting for any of your crimes, Sam?
I've never committed a crime my entire life. I am innocent and no one can prove anything else. Like, I have access to all of the recordings and none of you do. Yeah.
I mean, well,
and also joining us, our artist, Alex Holt. Alex, would you like to break into Sam's house with me?
TBD.
Alex is on my side. Let's just
not on air, Dagmar.
Yeah, exactly.
Admit to a crime.
I'm on the no incriminating.
Look, we've just heard that the only person with access to the recordings is Sam Langford, so I can just erase the evidence while I reveal his crimes. The other two lovely people with us on stream are our constant guests, and I don't want to know whose side you're on. I don't want to know whose side you're on.
You're doing so
Khalil
well.
Thurlaway and Rachel Williams, how are you doing? Don't tell me which of us you support in the eternal battle between me and Sam.
No comment.
That's me. That means it's me. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm making a note, negative advantage.
You told me not to tell you.
The trap is always a trap.
It's always a trap. Nimbo's gods will never talk to him again.
So I'm multiclassing into Warlock?
Nimbo's Warlock patron is me. Nice. We are here with our campaign Witness to Ruin. It is session 28, which is very exciting. And the party, sorry, someone made a real weird noise when I said 28. It sounded like someone was possessed.
I think it might have been me. I said wow, but I kind of growled it. Anyway.
Okay. Have you been bitten by a werebear?
If you have been bitten by a werebear, consider buying the products and services of Valkyrie RPG. Valkyrie RPG, each purchase of a dice set, dice bag, dice storage, dice thrower, dice wielder,
I think they do t-shirts also.
Guaranteed to come with an anti-werebear potion. Why Nimba hasn't tried it yet, we don't know. So go to valkyrierpg.co.uk right now and use code SciAndSorcery for 30% off and a free anti-werebear potion.
We all know Nimbo doesn't have a smartphone.
He's too poor. He grew up on a commune.
Like a Nokia something.
That was one of the announcements out of the way now, with that seamless ad transition. Our other seamless ad transition is we've got our first Playing for Palestine series of streams coming up from the 11th through the 13th of April. We are starting off, I'm going to be DMing, I believe Khalil is going to be one of my players, as a group of gym bros in the land of Brorovia take on Chod, who's a real piece of shit. I haven't written it yet, but it's going to be real fun. So remember to join us from the 11th through the 13th. We're going to have 4 different one-shots of various TTRPG systems, right, Sam?
Yeah, so over the course of it, we're going to have at least D&D. We'll also have Shiver RPG. We'll also have Worldwide Wrestling RPG. It's going to be played as part of it as well, which is going to be fucking incredible.
Of course we are.
So all sorts of things.
That's amazing. We will be raising money for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. We're going to have some absolutely amazing people joining us. So note that down in your diaries. And also, I might have some cats who turn up on stream. So there might be cats. You know, if you hate D&D but you like cats, you can still watch this. Beyond that, Huh?
What a weird little
You're
link.
muted, Khalil.
How many followers are we on?
We are on
419.
419. So if
You heard it, people.
Yeah, if you are not following us and would like to help us make something just like really relevant, go hit that follow button and let us hit 420 for Kaliel's one shot for playing for Palestine.
At 420 followers, we're going to get a special botanical themed one shot, the little hydroponic shop of horrors. So please get us over the line in time. I don't want to have to wait until next time.
One person. You just need one person.
Tell a
One
friend.
person.
Blackmail a
Just
friend.
Make a new account
Threaten
and
a
also
friend.
subscribe on that one.
I mean, you can do that, but that's not good for our analytics. So if
Cast
you have your
suggestion on a friend.
They can have 2 accounts open on 2 different.
Cast
your
dominate
phone
person
and
on
your
a friend.
laptop. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, get your
cast
enemy
gay
to
us on a friend.
All right. And on that note, folks, a recap of what's been going on in the world of Witness to Ruin. We have 4 unruly teenagers who have been chosen by the gods and sent on a quest to maybe stop an apocalypse as an evil cult attempts to wake a titan who dwells beneath the realm. In doing so, 2 of our 4 teenagers have possibly been chosen as the future champions of the gods, while the other 2 continue to not like the gods. So we'll see what happens with that eventually. In the meantime, they've also discovered several things about each other, namely that Michaelin Prescott Smythe, daughter of fantasy Jeff Bezos, and a woman named Kim, who's a real good politician, actually has a tiny gnome fiance who she's not too pleased about. We have learned that Blurta made a deal accidentally with a warlock that replaced one of her eyes with an opal. And she's on a quest to get that back in a weird teenage way that makes it seem like she's not on a quest to get that back. But she is, trust me. Nimbo has tried to reconnect with one of his gods who has gone silent, and on this journey has now sort of lost contact with the one god who was talking to him after making a deal with some hags to sacrifice a were creature to them in his place. Nimbo himself also being infected with lycanthropy. How will this play out for him? We don't know. And finally, Emerald. The recently discovered orphan, who was raised by a tiefling grandmother, has returned to their hometown after being hunted and now trying to put a stop to this hunt that has been ongoing their entire life. A hunt organized by the mayor of Elmsford, the town in which we find ourselves. Shortly after your arrival here, you discovered there was a series of murders and disappearances, and you have begun an investigation. You have made a tentative ally in a were-eagle named Clara, who was previously captured by the mayor, and then discovered a group of seemingly spells that had gone rogue, which then promptly tried to murder you. You defeated them, but now beaten and bruised. You've decided it's lunchtime. You're gonna go to the pub to try to recover just a bit of your sanity before setting off on your quest once again. 4 of you make your way not too far away to the Grey Weasel Inn, a dimly lit, ordinary place where it's easy enough to find a table and get some drinks.
Is everyone okay? Does anyone need anything specific? I can go and get us some drinks, but is there anything that anyone needs? I know that was fucking mad what just happened.
Yeah, I'll be fine. I just need to sit down for a bit. And you can see there's like both dry and wet blood, like all the way down my face, like coming out my nose, coming out my ears, like all that necrotic damage from that death spell really, really showing.
It's like,
My eyes are
"It's
like
away.
so-
That's a bit gross.
my eyes are like so bloodshot that they're like, yeah, almost red in the sclera.
Blurter, if you keep an eye on him, he doesn't look good.
Nope, he does not.
Ma-
Let's.
Mark,
What would you like to eat, Nimbo? Let's get a bit of food.
Soup, just something easy.
Okay,
I don't think I can chew.
I'll see if they have soup. Muck, do you need anything? How about you?
If they just got a really like cold rock that I can just place against my head, I just feel like that would feel so good.
A
Apart from that,
rock.
ale.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. Soup, a cold rock. Blurter, Bobbit, do you need anything?
I mean, I personally want cake, but that's.
I'll see what I can do, and I will go to the bar to see if I can.
Oh,
get
don't forget pints. Don't forget pints.
Yeah. Here, no, wait. Just take this, and I will leave my alchemy jug.
Oh, so I say into it, pints.
You hear a shout from the bar. Oi! Can't bring your own.
I'm buying. He needs a top up. I will buy the equivalent
There's a
amount.
surcharge for that.
That's fine. We'll pay it. It's fine. Don't worry.
All right.
All right, let's find a booth. And so I guess we see. Is there an empty booth that we can just kind of?
There's no booths. There's just tables. But yeah, it's like
Okay. Are they benches?
It's
Are they
early afternoon.
stools?
no, they're chairs.
Okay, I put a few chairs next to each other and kind of lie down on them.
Hey, Muck, do you want to stick your head in the magic cooler box?
Yes, but because it's you offering, no.
Blurta, what is in the magic cool box right now?
I have no idea. I don't think anything is.
Okay. Just bits of
What did we use it for?
decorations.
It was for the cake. It was for the meat
For-
cake.
Oh, the
The
Bullywug
meatloaf.
meat
The
cake.
meatloaf.
Oh my god.
The sexy Bullywug meat cake.
Oh, it's bringing it all back.
If
So
you
probably-
if you haven't watched us tonight, don't go looking for that.
No, please do. It provides so
Google
much
it. Just
context
Google
into
sexy
why
Bollywood
I'm
meat cake.
so sad. Okay.
If the words sexy Bullywug meat cake don't mean anything to you, then I don't know. I thought they were a descriptive enough set of words.
We need to ask Valkyrie to update the promo code.
Yeah.
To be fair, to clarify, it wasn't made of Bullywug meat.
No,
Yeah,
it,
that's-
It was a
that's
meat
not-
cake with a sexy Bullywug on it.
Yeah, that was not the
Mm.
issue. There was very specific wording that was the issue.
Anyways,
So yeah, I'm napping on some chairs, and Muck is contemplating putting hand on a mini fridge.
which will only functions when the lid is shut.
Okay,
It's
Then
not
no,
a
thank you.
refrigerator. You can't open it and get cool
Okay.
air out of it.
maybe you can put something in it to cool it down.
It's a preserving box. It's not a cool box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
Ignore this plan.
I'm
Yeah.
going to the
M. Yeah. You place an order for soup, 4 pints, and a cold rock.
and some cake if you've got it as well, please.
The slightly exhausted looking bartender, like when you mention the rock, he starts to frown. When you mention cake, the frown just gets deeper.
I'm not
Right.
asking
We can
a
do
lot,
soup.
Right.
We can do soup. I don't know if we've got any cake.
I mean,
A cold rock? Why?
She's got a sore head. You don't ask. It's just.
Walking. Okay, I mean I've got a rock, but I can do a nice damp cloth that's nice and cold.
I mean, that's not
You look
why I
like
asked.
you took a beating.
I look fine. But
Your friends, collective you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
He
That-
looks dead.
He's alive. Don't worry. We wouldn't bring. It's
Okay.
not weekend at Bernie's. I will take
Weekend
the
at Nimbos.
weekend at Nimbo's. I'll take the cloth.
Yeah, it's
Um,
clean. Like he gets a clean dishcloth,
Do you have
basically.
any ice?
At this point, I'm gonna kind of glance over, just kind of open my eyes, extend my hand towards M, and I'm gonna cast Frostbite on the cloth.
Oh,
Okay.
your service here is fantastic. Thank you so much.
I was gonna say I'm not a wizard, so I don't have ice, but you seem to be set.
Oh,
Um,
oh great. Do you have
did you just want the one soup?
uh? Let's take three. 3.5. The little one will take some as well, and gesturing towards Yarrow. I'm okay, but I'll get soup for the rest of them.
All right. Yeah, the pints, if you're just getting the ordinary house beer, and the soup will probably run you about 2 gold.
Do you have anything special for the house, or is it just the regular house ale?
We've got the regular ale. We've got some of Silver's ale, but you're not dwarves, so I'd be feel a little bit bad about giving it to you.
Okay, no, scrap that. Regular ale's fine, thank you.
Okay. Get a lot of dwarves around here. Here you go. Anything else? Just give me a shout.
Amazing, thank you.
And if he does die, we can help with that too.
Oh, thank you. That won't be necessary, but good to know.
Make a perception check for me, Em.
Yeah. That is a 17.
Okay, yeah. You notice a familiar symbol on the man's wrist. A sinless tattoo.
I climb up and turn quickly away. Sit down at the table and just with the pints, like, well, this is not the safest place to come after almost dying, but we'll enjoy our soup and then we'll be on our way.
Oh, safer than outside. Cheers, Em.
I'm not so sure about that, but yeah.
Fuck, that's hot. That's hot. That's hot. That's
Yeah,
hot. It's
yeah.
hot.
Sorry.
It's really hot vegetable soup.
I take
Where
1
did
point
you
of
take the
fire
soup?
damage.
It's not quite that hot.
Play like I will like bite my finger and then just like place a claw in it and like take some damage for like a crimson right just to cool it down.
I mean, I did just press
Okay.
digitate it already, so I don't know why you burnt yourself on the soup.
This day is going really badly. Is everyone
Oh.
okay?
Perfect. Perfect.
I mean, for once I'm okay, but you guys look like shit.
I'm gonna use disguise self, and look not like shit. I'm gonna disguise myself to look like Nimbo when he's not been beaten to death by magic.
I love that use of the spell, absolutely.
It's just it's just you with sunglasses on.
Mark takes the frozen cold cloth and just like softly bashes it against her head
In a
repeatedly.
facsimile of the spell bashing you into that wall earlier.
Yeah, it's like undoing, the trauma.
So
She's just knocking those memories out of the head.
I'm just
Where
trying to
the-
remember. Do we actually know anything about, like, are these living spells something we've ever heard of before?
No, they just
Um,
came out of nowhere. They just came out of the walls.
Yeah, so M had determined that they were living spells,
Yeah.
and you'd been able to determine that one of them was something that seems to have been created from like a mage armor or a shield spell, and the fiery one was more like similar to a burning hands. You don't know about the third one yet. You don't know anything beyond.
So this is all.
They came after you, and like there's been like theories that these things are possible.
So this is all wizard and warlock stuff, right? Burning hands, mage
Has
armor.
to be.
Well, once we've had a bit of a rest, I can we can go back and I can have a look. I can detect some magic, see if there's any signs or anything. Because
Do we want to ask about it all in here, or like see if there's anyone who knows anything? Like subtly,
we're
of
gonna have to
course.
be sly about it.
Why is it not safe, out of curiosity?
We've met people like this before. The people that run the place, we've met them
Oh,
before.
bar staff.
The bar staff we have met. Yeah, you are a bit beaten around the head.
Nick
My
has
eyes
definitely met some
blink out of
some bar
sync.
They they all have similar markings on their wrist.
Got ya.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, just seen.
So, I think if we were to ask here, we do it subtly and perhaps.
Well, Muck, aren't these people kind of a bit aligned with Idal, with your patron,
I guess.
god of
What do I have to do to
justice and
tap in?
criminals?
Yeah, would a prayer like? Do you think he'd tell me something that could help? How
I
do you
mean,
kick one off?
I think I'm out of advice when it comes to dealing with gods at the moment. Maybe I'm not the best example to follow. I've got
Okay,
two
but you
gods.
did-
One has never spoken to me, and one has stopped speaking to me. So
One stopped speaking to you right after the earthquake and just hasn't come back since.
oh, Varia used
Yeah.
to speak to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
That was
okay.
This is something that I told you back in September. So do not.
Yeah. So
expect
I've
me to
got
remember it.
two gods, and neither of them are currently speaking to me. So I'm not sure I feel qualified to give you advice on that one.
Okay,
Alright, fair
so
enough.
well, I'm an expert in religion, so clearly I should be the one to answer.
Okay,
I mean,
go on.
you're good at making people like you and believe you.
So what do we want to know?
If there's any like wizards or sorcerers or warlocks or cults, or maybe not ask about the cults, bit obvious. If there's any like famous magicians around here.
So
Okay,
what would
cool.
I
I
make?
got this.
Am I making this as a check or?
Huh?
You
I'm gonna
just
try and talk to God.
I thought we were doing.
Muck is contemplating talking to the god of justice and criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nimbo
Well, I was-
would like to find out if there's any famous.
No, I was suggesting that Blur to try and find out, because she's very charismatic
yeah.
and very persuasive and very deceptive.
Okay.
I
Um,
am
Muck,
all
if
of
you
those
want to
things.
make a religion check for me, anyways, please go ahead.
Help and guidance, or can I do both, or just help?
You can do. I'll let you do one of those.
Can I-
So
Can I guide Blurter and help Muck?
yes,
So
Sweet.
yeah, because they're not happening at the exact same time. So Muck, roll with advantage.
That's a 14.
A 14. Okay. So you know that the Sinlas, who are the largest criminal guild in the country, do worship Idal as the god of criminals. Your association with Idal probably would put you in decent standing with them, and you'd be able to, like, probably calm any flared tempers should Blurta's attempts to extract information go wrong, if you play your cards right.
Can I interject just for a little moment and just draw
Yes.
us out from the table?
Yes.
Lost Haven Art, thank you so much for the follow. We've reached 420.
We're at 421, Sam.
I know, we've just had another one after that. But
Amazing.
420.
Thank you folks so much. Khalil, time to start planning your little hydroponic shop of horrors.
Yes, start planning, as if I haven't been thinking
You
about it
haven't
for
already.
a long time.
And just so the audience knows, Sam, is that one happening on the evening on the 13th?
That will be happening 8 p.m. British summertime on the 13th, including one of the people who is in the chat right now, Becca Malema, is going to be one of our players. So yeah, yeah. Sorry to
Great.
take us out of
That's
the table,
absolutely
but just wanted
fine.
Air horn
Okay.
noises.
Air horns everywhere. Muck, you also Idol probably wouldn't know anything about these spells, so there's no point in asking him for help on that. That is free information I will also give you for this check.
Okay, all right. So just in practice, what this looks like is Muck kind of puts her head down on the table, kind of like masking her face and her mouth, and just goes, okay, it's all like, this doesn't have to be super formal or anything, but just like vibe check. And then like she gets like a little good feeling in her tummy. She's like, cool, thanks, bro.
All right. And on that note, Blurta, do you want to go and ask around about famous magicians?
I think I'll just go up to the barkeeper.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, excuse me. So when you're in town and we need the services of like an expert in the arcane, do you know anyone like that around here?
Well, depends on what kind of arcane you're looking for, doesn't it?
Someone who is more. We more need the knowledge than the actual wizardry, if that makes sense. Like, we need an expert who can answer our questions rather than someone who can cast the spells.
Well, I mean, it still depends on the subject, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, basically just the. I mean, what would it fall under? Just like spellcraft as a whole? I don't really know.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it was all kind of
like
combat magic. wasn't it?
theoretical spellcraft.
Yeah.
Like a war mage or something.
There used to be one.
Okay.
Don't know if he's still around. Lived in the fancy part of town. Honestly, if I were you, I'd go to the library.
Okay.
At least, the guy who runs it's a priest of Thelov, so, deity of knowledge might be able to help out.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's the book library, not the bar called the library. They're next to each other. It's confusing for new people.
Damn.
I mean, that's a pretty fancy setup if you do want to do studying and drinking, I guess.
I'm not sure the rich folks in the library bar let you bring in books.
Well, that's just...
I've never been inside, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Not really my scene.
No, I mean, I think yours is better, personally, but I do like
Thank
the
you.
proximity of books. But if they don't
I
let
think
you
I might be
drink drinks,
allergic to
what's the
them.
point? But
He's
yeah,
just thinking real hard about that question.
I'm trying to think, like, that was kind of the core point of what we wanted to know anyway, so I don't really...
Nope.
Yep.
I would just like message in your head, just order another drink and leave.
Have you got any whiskey?
Sure, yeah. Let me see.
We've got
what
this
we got.
fireball whiskey right here.
I didn't ask how small your bar was.
Well, we've got this just fell off a truck a few days ago. He takes down one bottle that is shaped like a very curvaceous woman.
Nice.
This is the red-headed harlot. 5 gold apiece for a shot.
And how much for the bottle?
He stares at it, and you can see he's trying to do math and figure out how many shots are in a bottle before he just glitches out and
28.
Yeah.
This has come up on the show before.
Yeah, it has.
Yes, it has, because Barta keeps trying to buy the whole bottle.
So 100, 140 gold for that bottle.
I'm
that
gonna
bottle of
make
whiskey.
just a general intelligence check for this guy to see if he'll figure that out. Okay, yeah.
What did he roll?
Hold on, you said 28. Huh?
What did he roll?
He rolled a 16, so he is able to do the
Oh.
math. So that is 5 times 28 would be 140. Yeah, he asks for 140 gold.
Part
Okay.
of me wanted to chrono shift that. Just waste that
You-
ability on a barkeep.
I will buy.
Discount.
I will buy the bottle.
Okay. He hands over a bottle of the red-headed harlot. Do you want any glasses with that?
Yes, please.
Do you want them prepared properly?
Yes, please.
4 of them?
Do any of you want your whiskey now or later?
I'll have one.
Yeah.
I guess so.
You see the barkeep go and dig out 4 approximately equally sized shot glasses, looking for ones that don't have chips in them. He dips
Not
the
many
rims in
chips.
honey and then rolls them through this red substance before bringing them over to your table.
Oh.
The instructions are on the bottle, I think. Enjoy.
Nimbo, I think this is the one for you. It involves honey somehow.
Yeah, you hear a deep rumbling, kind of quiet but deep rumbling growl from within, even in my non-shifted form.
Is it possible for me to make some form of Arcana check on this drink?
Sure.
Just before we all end up like disappearing to another plane or something.
Can I
Yeah.
guide? Can I
That
guide
only
them?
happened one time.
Yeah, you can guide him.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, with guidance, that is 22.
Okay.
I predict it's just going to turn all our hair ginger.
That's gonna make us
there
real
is a-
slutty.
Cat.
It's just gonna make us all real slutty.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Just
There
like no.
is a very faint indication this could be magic. You don't know what kind because you're not casting detect magic on it.
Mm.
But from the writing on the label and the list of ingredients, one of the ingredients is tree ent root, which is not that common to find, which is probably why the bottle's so expensive, and does have a variety of magical benefits. The other ingredients include a lot of fermented berries and deer's blood.
Oh.
The powder seems to just be like red powdered sugar that's been dyed red.
Not cochineal or anything like that.
No.
I'll relay
They're
that
not
to
dying.
relay that to everybody as we kind of raise them up. Like,
I mean,
this
to-
this may go good or bad. It's only lunchtime, but
We earned this.
uh,
You earned this. You all earned this by not dying.
I
to
don't
not
know.
They're not
dying.
dying
Thank you,
yet.
Yeah.
You all down your shots. It is incredibly sweet with a bitter aftertaste from the blood.
Blood's not
And
bitter.
you all find yourself feeling just a little bit more confident, a little bit more self-assured. You have advantage on charisma skill checks for the next minute.
Don't know about you guys, but I feel great. And like, how long do we need to stay here to have a short rest, Dagmar? I know canonically an hour, but like,
Throughout your meal, the time you're spending here drinking, you'll get a short rest.
sweet.
Ooh.
So, but between the shot and also being now nearly at full hit points, Nimbo looks much better. The disguise has worn off. And I'm looking and feeling, moisturized, in my lane, thriving.
Can I come in with a science fact?
Sure.
In that you mentioned that sweet taste of blood, and like Khalil / Nimbo said about it. Like, do you know that not everybody tastes blood in the same way?
Makes sense.
And the way that it interacts with our taste receptors is all very individual. So some of us will feel it as sweet, some will taste bitter. That kind of metallic taste is very different for everyone else. I feel very conscious that we do have like a platelets person in the chat, who may come in and like add extra to that. But yeah, it's not a taste that everybody feels is very it's very individual. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. All right, have a nerd dice.
Thank you.
That is fascinating and creepy in equal measure.
Exactly right. It's
Yeah.
why
The best sort of fact.
Yeah, I love it. But I feel weird about it.
So
Yeah.
Blurter, you said that there was a library run by a priest of Thelov. Great, because I was gonna try and think whether there was a temple to Thelov. God of knowledge.
I think
But-
it's like just behind the other temples from the look of this on this map.
Sweet. I guess that's our first port of call.
And there's a bar next door, so we can also turn it into a bar crawl if we need to.
Also, it looks like we're going to be passing the place that we got beat up, right?
You can stop by there. The
It's
place
kind of
you
on the
got
way,
beat
right?
up- Yes, yeah, you can slip through an alley in order to get there, if you wanted to.
Do you think it's worth swinging by there, or do we want to not be seen there?
It might. Did we check out the scene like before we left? Did we look for any
Yep.
clues?
We were
You
in
did,
the middle
yeah.
of it. I think some of you found some stuff under some boxes before we got attacked.
You
Yeah.
found some boxes
Yeah.
that had rotted partially, and you
Yeah.
found some scorch marks. Yeah.
Which makes sense. If you think about the types of spells that we were attacked by, which was necrotic damage and fire damage.
Yeah.
But I was thinking if we passed by, I could just ping a detect magic, and as we walk through, just be scanning for any because it I think it will show me through walls, or maybe not.
I
think
don't think it does.
It's
I will also
also
point
the
out
distance.
It
you
depends
are.
on thickness, right?
It's got to be at least a
Yeah.
foot of stone, which is
Okay.
pretty thick.
Yeah. I will point out you are also the inn is right next to the location where someone else disappeared.
Oh, great.
Lovely.
Not for them, but
No.
we should check it out.
Yeah, let's check that out.
Okay.
Let's check that out, and then maybe swing by the place we got beaten up, and then hit up the temple, or the library temple.
I'm good
Yeah.
with
The temple
that.
library.
If everyone else is, I'm happy with that plan.
Yep.
Yep. Leaving the inn.
As we're leaving,
It's-
sorry, can I just double check? Is there anything out of the ordinary? Is there anyone who might be looking like they're watching us or following
Make a
us?
perception check.
I'm just feeling very nervous in this town. And
Yeah, can I get an insight vibe check?
On what?
On the room, just getting a feel for the room.
Sure.
I rolled a 14.
Okay. I just wait to see what Khalil rolls.
I rolled a
'Cause
13.
These are similar checks. A 13. Okay. It seems the bartender seems to occasionally just glance over at you, but not in like a suspicious way, more in a you're new and you've been doing a bunch of weird magic, and then the one-eyed girl bought a bottle of stolen liquor, outright. You're just weird.
Okay.
I
I will just say to him then,
Yeah.
good soup, thank you.
You're welcome. See you soon. Nimbo, the vibe you got, everyone just kind of seemed to be busy with their own stuff. There wasn't anyone who was paying particular attention to you other than the bartender, but the bartender's had some weird interactions with the two people he's spoken to, so make of that what you will.
Cool.
Leaving the bar, you know that someone disappeared from pretty much right outside, but there isn't any. It was a disappearance, so there's no like obvious spot where it happened.
Yeah, can we have a little scope about see if we see any scorch marks, any unnatural bits of rot, anything like that?
Make an investigation check, please.
Can I help
I
with
will
that?
assist.
Looking around for, like, street urchin kids that might see stuff.
That would be a perception check.
Can I help with the perception check?
You can help with the perception check. Nimbo.
Someone guide me.
Well, I'll assist you, so you've got advantage.
Are you proficient in investigation, Alex?
Yep.
Great.
Absolutely. So you've got advantage, Nimbo.
The Khalil rolls are back.
Oh dear.
So the higher of those two was a 4, plus a 4 on my guidance, plus a 1, so 9.
Okay. You are scouring the floor, the walls, the air, checking, like moving crates out of the way. You might find something. It's gonna take you a minute.
I think what happened is when I got knocked out before lunch, I hit my head on the ground, and I think I'm
Yes.
just a little bit concussed.
Well, it's a long way down for you. You're like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, and I'm top heavy.
Yeah.
You're really
what did
fixated on a
you
bit of moss in the corner.
I think there's a scorch mark over here. And what did you get in your perception check?
With the help action, I got a natural 20.
Okay. What's the total?
21.
21. Okay. There's no like street urchins or anything hanging about, but there is a small group of women who seem to have just come back from the markets. They're standing around in front of a house a little ways down, seem to be gossiping, and their eyes are closely watching Nimbo, who is not acting entirely normal? Question mark. With Blurta assisting Nimbo in this.
I think Blurter is assisting probably by like trying to like drag me away from staring at one piece of moss.
Yes. Yeah, but you think you've probably spotted the neighborhood gossips.
Okay, rather than being myself and going to speak to them, I am gonna just like look down at Yarrow and be like, do the juggling thing. Go and listen. And I'm gonna send Yarrow down with some blueberries and watch through the eyes just to see if I can hear anything.
Okay. Yeah, you go blind and deaf instantly. Are you expecting Yarrow to try to juggle with blueberries?
Possibly. I'm just looking cute.
Make me a performance check for Yarrow, please.
Mm-hmm.
Has Yarrow had the whiskey?
Yarrow would probably die from the whiskey.
It was only a minute, so it would have worn
Okay.
off.
And also, it's most of Yarrow's body weight.
Yes.
Yarrow might be taking a hit point of damage for that.
Yarrow didn't take any whiskey. None of that.
No.
Rolled an 18.
Okay. The problem is that Yarrow is not bipedal necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Can keep his balance. Pikas are good at that. Also has very short paws, and perhaps most importantly, is a who knows quite how old something fey creature. And is being asked to do tricks and is just a little bit like, really? but does a very good job of juggling. The women stop their conversation and start cooing over Yarrow and handing down like little tidbits of food. If you were hoping to get conversation from these women about anything other than the juggling pica,
That's fine. I'm happy for Yarrow to just kind of stay where they are at this point rather than come back.
Do I notice this happening?
At this point, probably, yeah.
So I'm just going to sort of I'm going to sort of. Is there any reason these women would associate me as knowing Yarrow?
Yeah, you all came out of the inn together. They were probably already watching.
Okay, they're already there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to walk over to them and just be like, "Oh, this little Yarrow, he's such a show-off.
Oh, he's adorable.
He is very adorable. Like, I was just like wondering, sort of like, we're just new in town. Like, is there anything that's sort of like going on? Like, are there any like, it's like you look like ladies who know what's going on in town.
We might be. What sort of thing are you looking for?
Well, I was just thinking, sort of like, if there had been anything like going on recently. I mean, we initially like if there was any kind of like markets or something, we could make a few coins with the arrow here. But also just like,
Oh,
it's
well,
good to
there's,
get the vibe of the town. What's going on?
Well, there's market stalls every day in the square by the temples.
Mhm.
I suppose you could probably earn a bit of money.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll have to. You hear that, Yarrow? You're going to have an audience.
Yarrow shoots you a look. And Sam, you just get the strongest vibe of, can I please stop juggling blueberries now?
No, keep going.
This is degrading.
Keep juggling.
It's for a good reason. Keep doing it.
I'm not quite sure how it plays into this, but that's fine. So has there been much going on around here lately?
You're asking that a lot.
Because you didn't answer the first time, to be fair.
Well, but I asked what sort of things you were looking to find out about, and you didn't answer me.
Oh, right. Well, I said the market, but yes. No, I mean,
Yes.
basically, like, you know, when you go, I mean, when you're in a new town, you want to get the vibe of what the energy's like at the time. Like, if there's been bad stuff going on, it kind of makes it a bit harder to get a bit of profit. If it's like everyone's in a good mood, makes it a bit easier. It's just like good to get a finger on the pulse.
Right. Make a persuasion check.
But not.
You're not at advantage anymore. It's been way more than a minute.
What about the adorable juggling rodent?
Does it not have any sort of
fine? I'll just have to do with my 27 persuasion.
The juggling rodent would be a great distraction, but is not necessarily going to incline people to tell you more information about anything.
I don't know, if someone came up to me with a juggling rodent and like started engaging me in small talk, my guard would be down.
We are very different people, because mine would be so high up. I would be constantly checking my pockets for my wallets.
You could probably take my phone out of my hand and I wouldn't notice.
I think it depends on the rodent as well. Like,
really? There are some juggling rodents that wouldn't distract you?
No, they would distract me, but some
I mean, that wouldn't like endear you.
Like,
I'd also feel like I should just interject at this point to say that pikas are not rodents; they're lagomorphs.
Oh, that's true.
So they're like rabbits, hares, pikas, slightly different.
Cheerfully
probably worse at juggling.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have seen a
Anyways, I
pairs
have the title
boxing,
for
you
this
could-
episode. It's Some Juggling Rodents. 27 persuasion.
Yes.
Right. The women sort of glance at each other. All right. Well, I mean, I suppose everyone does already know this, but there has been a strange number of disappearances lately, and well, the Crest Guards say they're investigating, but frankly, we've even ever see them. I mean, one of them was frankly, he was a drunkard, but he disappeared right outside the Weasel. It was well, it's a pity for his wife, but he was a bit of a he wasn't a good catch. Now the mayor's saying that he's working together with the Crest Guard, but again, we haven't seen the Crest Guard anywhere here, have we?
I think
No,
as
so
this goes
maybe
on, I'm just
maybe
going to be
don't go
like.
anywhere at night.
I think as this goes on, I'm just going to be like pulling all the like shocked expressions like that she would want to kind of like
Make
chain
a performance
reaction
check. Make a performance check.
Tell me
That's not covered by my
Oh
27.
God.
This is just
Stop.
That's only an 8.
she sort of shoots you a look like you can tone it down just a little bit. Oh, no. So, no, there has been some things happening, but it's not getting anyone down necessarily. It's just
Okay.
people are a bit more careful these days. No one's going anywhere on their own, really. Been a
Like,
couple of gruesome murders.
You can stop juggling now. Just we're not getting anywhere with this.
Fuck. It just drops the blueberries and comes like
Oh wait a
skittering
minute!
back to you.
Those were like hard won. Pick those up.
I'm a dick to Yara.
Garrow sighs and goes and picks up the blueberries.
Right. Okay. There we go. Come on, we're a
And
team.
then puts them down on M's shoe.
That's extra tragic because presumably Yara doesn't have to breathe. So
No, Garrow doesn't have to breathe or eat.
just sighing for the emotional impact.
Garrow gets told
Dramatic
to go and
effect.
frolic earlier and is still a little bit peeved about it.
So I don't want to be kind of Munchkin rules lawyery here, but like
Yeah.
if familiars don't have to breathe,
Yes. Mhm.
could you use their lungs to smuggle stuff?
I mean, yeah, like you could if you really want to argue that. Yes.
I would
Okay,
just
we
say
we don't have time for that, I guess.
Yeah.
it depends on the ruling because like, do they actually have internal organs at all?
Well, they're still living creatures, right?
But are they just?
They
like,
take on the shape of the creature, though. They're not necessarily. They're spirits, essentially.
Okay. If they take on the shape of the creature, do they take
They
on?
can take on the shape of the lungs. If you start trying to smuggle things inside of your familiar's lungs, I will start looking up how wide the opening of their larynx is.
Yeah. That's fine.
Also, the lung itself, the organ, is not like a bag. It's
it's
like
folded.
sponge.
It's not hollow, no.
Yeah, it's full.
Yeah.
Liquids, sure.
Yeah, you could store
That's
like
true.
Liquor or
A
gunpowder.
pint.
so what we're getting here is it's going to be like the spin-off show where Yarrow is like smuggling heroin in the pancreas. or
Maybe
something.
that's
Oh my
maybe
god!
that was Yarrow's previous life, and Yarrow's now being told to go frolic and juggle blueberries.
This is like Yarrow is
Breaking-
like in witness protection with M.
The show is called Breaking Familiar.
Oh, we need to make that happen. We need to make that happen. You could cast gaseous form and smuggle yourself
Mm.
inside a familiar's lungs.
Oh, that's genius.
Unless you get absorbed into your familiar's bloodstream.
Which
Oh.
they
A phase
Don't
blood.
have.
You get absorbed into a phase bloodstream. What?
And
what
then-
the fuck happens?
And
after
then
that?
when gaseous form wears off, you are distributed across the entire body of an organism. and
you explode.
maybe
your
it's a kind of
body.
like the Fly
It's-
situation where you kind of get Jeff Goldblumed not in the good way.
That's awful.
Oh.
Anyway, so we're talking to these ladies. Well, Blurter's talking to these ladies and has failed to convince them that she's interested.
She has convinced them to
No,
talk,
has
though.
just failed to convince them that she's as interested as she's pretending to be.
Okay, so
But it's not negatively affected what they tell you because of your earlier
I
persuasion
think
check.
also because of the eye patch and everything, it comes off a bit weird.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to know from them?
like
They're happy to keep gossiping, but most of it
I
is
think
not
specifically
really
about
relevant.
the disappearance that was like right here.
Yeah.
Like, so was that the one with the police officer? Did they say, or the guard?
Prescott.
Well, so they just say the Crest Guard hasn't really come to investigate at all.
Okay.
They've not really seen any Crest Guard around.
Hmm.
The man who disappeared seems to have been like a
deadbeat
known
husband.
a deadbeat husband who spent all of his money on drink. He was last seen outside of the inn, and then just sort of vanished without a trace.
I think I'd try and basically like get them to sort of like repeat all the rumors they've heard about it. It's like, oh,
Okay.
I heard he ran away with whoever.
Yeah,
and
there's
it's the doctors, whatever.
like take your pick of rumors. There's rumors he ran away with a lover, rumors that his now supposed widow like had him assassinated and that the Sinless hid his body. There's rumors he's just been arrested and the mayor isn't telling anyone.
Are any of these kind of
Yeah.
is there any kind of anything to any of these rumors that has any kind of like this is something to look into to it, or is it just like
Make an insight check.
4?
Not sure. The most relevant rumors are probably run away with a lover, just like skip town because he was in debt, arrested, and being held in the prison, and has been assassinated. Those are like the main 4 rumors. The other ones, these women kind of seem to dismiss.
Okay. And were you saying there were like other disappearances too? Were they like people in similar situations?
Oh, I think one of them was quite a good girl. There was who else went missing? One of them was supposedly a former member of the Crest Guard, but is living in Cold Sprawl, just like the rest of us. One of them was a Sinless, so who knows what's happened to them. No, just ordinary people mostly. I mean, I didn't know all of them personally.
Okay.
Might have all been bad people, I don't know, but well, I don't think Dolores' daughter could have been that bad. Seemed like a nice girl.
What's her name?
Dolores' daughter.
Dolores' daughter. Okay. Oh, who's Dolores?
Oh, Dolores. She works at one of the other inns. I think she might be taking some time off at the moment. It's been very tragic. You eventually managed to get out that Dolores works at the inn you 4 are staying at, the Old Jester.
But there was just something in the chat. I should ask, and then
this is all information you have received from the Crest Guard's office as well.
Yeah, I'm basically just trying to like filter if there's kind of any knowledge that adds to what we know already. Yeah. But oh yes. So, who's the wife of this of the guy who went missing? Is she around here too?
Well, yes, she lives I think just behind the inn, one street over. Believe she's been having quite a good time since he's left.
Oh,
Good for her.
yeah. This guy sounds like he sucked.
That is terrible, terrible man.
Does anyone know a banana stand around
What?
There's always money in the banana stand.
here?
Okay, I think I get where that's going. Okay.
Yeah, they give you like there's not exactly an address because there's not like a flat number, but they give you a description of where to find the wife.
Hmm.
I hold on, let me find her name before you start asking me where's the wife of the guy, because I will not remember.
Agnes. Griselda.
It's not.
Huh.
This is not helping, Sam. I have so many names in one of these documents. This is not helping at all.
All right. So while Dagmar's looking that up,
Hmm.
so what we doing next? Are we
Tell me what you want
gonna
to do.
look up wife, or are we gonna keep on with original plan? What do we want to do?
So I think wife and Dolores are both back by the inn. So maybe if we want to keep like focusing on what we're doing first, then when we wind down for the night,
We go back.
you know, yeah.
I agree.
Well, I think
they are at
wife
different
was near
inns.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
wife was near
Wife
the
is
Grey
near
Weasel.
here.
The inn
Dolores,
we've
the
just left.
bartender, is the inn you're staying at, which is in a different part of town.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like, wife on if we can for anything else, and then Dolores if we go back.
But we're on the way to the library. We still haven't reached there yet.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
literally
yeah.
just stepped out of the pub.
Yeah, we've not moved.
So like,
Okay. Okay.
so if we
Cool.
wanted to, we could, just pop into the next street, see wife, and then go on with the rest of the to-do list. But,
yeah.
Oh,
And then
I'm happy with
Dolores
that.
when we go for a rest. And yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
The wife's name is Jozu.
Let's go see Josu.
Jozu.
How's that spelled?
JOZZU. Yeah, you are about there. Oh, Nimbo, it is at about this time that you finally move a set of crates next to a wall. Told you it was going to take a while.
I'm following the moss down the wall.
And you discover a patch where the moss has all crumbled off and a big dent in the wall. At the base of this, you see a pile of ash, which starts to get scattered about in the wind.
Can I try and gather a small amount up?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, there's a lot of ash.
is it? Am I the type of person who would know how much ash a body would turn into? Given that
Make a medicine check.
given that my mentor Cinder was a devotee of, fire and nature and the destructive wrath of nature.
I mean, it would also depend.
I will let you make
presumably-
either a medicine or a nature check, your choice.
I'm gonna do nature. Bias, guide me.
Also, there's like a huge, we don't know what species this guy was. So, like, anywhere between a halfling and a furbolg is a rather large range of mass to turn it down.
I have a science
little
fact
side.
based on this as well, but yeah, what's the roll?
So the good news is the rolls are getting better. That was a 5. So my total with guidance is 12.
Okay. This is an unusual amount of ash. It's definitely enough to maybe have been a person.
So for a regular cremation, you're looking at 4 to 6 pounds of ash, it's usually around 4% of the original weight.
Which is still a lot of ash.
Yeah, there's a lot of ash.
Yeah.
So you said 4 to 10%. So like,
No,
why
no,
such
no.
ve-
Sorry, like around 4%. It's
Oh,
about
4%. Okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
about £4 to £6 of
Okay.
like an average human.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that relates to say like a Goliath.
I guess if there's more fat content, maybe that would burn off
Yeah.
more and leave less ash.
Mm-hmm.
If someone had water retention as well, a lot of water weight.
Yeah. Yeah, boils off.
Anyway, so
Or
we've
if they were
got
like a kangaroo or something and had hollow bones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna turn to the others. Think I found the spot. There was some cool moss, but yeah, I found the spot. Same as last time. Oh look, there's someone got thrown into a wall.
Oh.
I pointed at the big dent.
So that
I
happened to
think
you guys.
I'm just keeping the ladies distracted with more gossip while you three are having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right.
Well,
Should we head?
yeah, we've got like more things to know what gonna happen here, so that's good. But
As a fighter, would I know the height of the person who threw the other person into the wall? What could I guess about the sizes of the two people?
Well, was it a person who threw it into the wall? Because
Yeah, you
That's
have
true.
an intimate experience with things throwing you into walls. You
I
can.
do.
It seems like this might have
Intimate.
been.
Well, I
Intimate
do
knowledge
in my
of this.
spare time.
Yeah, it seems like this dent is really similar to the one Muck left in the wall that she got rammed into by that spell. Like, even similar in size.
Our fork getting thrown around. Been
Do
there.
we already know which missing person spot corresponds to Dolores' daughter?
Yep,
yes,
that's on the map.
I have just marked it on the map, as well as the one for the Crest Guard.
which I will show as well, so folks can see.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's kind of on the way anyway.
So we are currently, for the audience, we're in the bottom right
Near the grey
of the
weed.
map. The grey weasel is down there.
There.
Yeah.
All right, so should we go see Lozu?
Why? Yeah.
Why?
All right. Yeah. You have to basically walk around the block, but eventually you come to where you think Josu's house is. It is like a tenement building, basically. So, but you've been told that she lives up on the second floor. You make your way up there.
Right, so before we knock on the door, how are we going to handle this? How are we going to approach it?
Well, first of all, what do we actually want to know here?
Yeah, like maybe was her husband like in trouble with anyone, or had he like been associating with unsavory characters? Was he involved in anything magic?
Do we want to tell him? No, do we want to say that he is probably a small pile of ash in the courtyard also?
Well,
Maybe let's not lead with that.
No, not lead with it, but
is it just to refresh my memory? Is this the person who might have been one of the Sinless who's gone missing?
No, another
No.
one of the
Another
disappeared
one.
people
Yeah.
was Sinless.
I wasn't
So
sure
there
if
was
they were. If
there was a
which one
Sinless, there was a former Crest Guard, Dolores' daughter, deadbeat husband, and another one.
Two
that-
unnamed.
Yeah,
So
two unnamed.
is it? Do we think it's wise going in as hello, we're the Crest Guard? Do we want to just be people who turn up at the door asking questions? Do we want to?
Well, this guy, the deadbeat husband, was a Crest Guard as well, right?
Mm-mm.
Who's a...
It's just a
Oh,
deadbeat.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
But what's
Gotcha,
said about the
gotcha.
Crest Guard is that the three gossips hadn't actually seen any Crest Guard investigating the disappearances.
okay, but the Crest Guard
Cool.
have come and collected samples from the ones where there had been an actual
Murders. Yeah.
So does it?
They
does
collected
that-
samples from the murders. They said there was no evidence from any of the disappearances.
Does
Well,
that seem?
they just suck at their job here.
Does that seem odd then if Crestguard turn up to suddenly be doing work?
Okay,
Or maybe that will open her up because, you know, the system is finally taking an interest.
Taking it seriously.
but it also strikes me that she might just automatically mistrust the system.
I mean, well, I would too, but that's.
I mean, to be honest,
I mean, we all do because we
see
like-
the system. We see what it's like.
Yeah.
and we have a credible reason to potentially believe that maybe it might be actively conspiring against us. If, the Esbrew theory is right.
honestly, I think we would actually probably be better in just saying we're freelance adventurers and we're looking into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
let's go with that.
And just to check as well, this person who is disappeared / died, would, if we're thinking based on what we currently know, might be a were person, or no?
Why?
Do we think that this
we
is part of the
don't know.
kidnappings, or
No.
We don't have information to say either way on that. I mean, it's
okay?
They might
a
be.
fair inference, but we don't know.
It's hard to kidnap someone who's a pile of ash, but at the same time,
Yeah,
fire and necrotic damage is something that will hurt a were person, more than getting stabbed.
And also, from the rather painful track record of this town, there's no guarantee that there's not two more things in the same place.
What?
Two things could be happening at the same time. Could be a were person, could be
And also a pile of
got
ash.
incinerated by a spell. Yeah.
Before we
Yeah.
move
Okay.
to head on, I would say, Dachmar, that Khalil definitely deserves an nerd dice for you can't kidnap Ash.
No.
Yeah.
That's clearly ash napping, which is an entirely separate thing.
So
Well, Pikachu wouldn't let you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah. So we go in freelance investigators. We've heard about the problem. We're all feeling confident. But who wants to lead?
Well,
So the husband. Well,
Well,
no, I have no charisma. Let's go.
what I can do is I can give two of us a bit of a boost to our abilities. Me and Blurter, maybe?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm going to do a third level enhance ability. Giving us both equal splendor, so advantage on charisma.
Okay.
I feel like doing a shot just before knocking on the door might be a bit weird.
I mean, I am going to just keep it handy just for such occasions. But
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We still got 24 out of 28 shots remaining.
I know,
Yeah, I
I'm
do want you to
tracking
keep track of that one.
it. I'm tracking it. That's
Good. All right. You
We
go
can make
up
them into
to
little ice lollies. Sorry.
you go up to Jozu's the door of Jozu's
Ooh,
apartment.
sorry, science fact. You can't make ice lollies out of whiskey because its alcohol content is too high. Because the alcohol molecules, just like any impurities in water, they get in the way of the hydrogen bonds between the little, water molecules are kind of like Mickey Mouse. You've got an oxygen and two hydrogens. So the hydrogen bonds between the hydrogens and the oxygen of another molecule are what give it that hexagonal crystal structure you get in a snowflake. And that's what makes ice solid. But if you stick other stuff in there, like salt or alcohol, then that disrupts that bonding and it lowers the freezing temperature. It means it has to get much colder for those bonds to grip each other. So that's why you can put vodka in the freezer, and it becomes delicious. Whereas if you put beer in the freezer, it explodes because it freezes, the gas comes out of solution, and the can explodes. And then you have to clean out your freezer drawer with all this weird smelling brown mush.
Am I
Definitely
remembering
enough from
correctly
experience, right?
that there are
Should-
spirits that are made by basically like leaving like whiskey or other spirits outside in very low temperatures, and then like taking off the water, so you end up with something more concentrated.
Well, that's freeze drying, yeah.
Mm,
So
yeah,
that's how you freeze dry, like, the fruit that you get in like cereal, and it's also how the Incas used to freeze dry their potatoes. So they would leave potatoes outside overnight at high altitude, and they would freeze, and then so a lot of the water comes out of the structure and ends up as ice on the outside, and then in the daytime it would melt and evaporate, and then you do that again and again and again until it goes from what we know as a potato to like a kind of what looks a bit more like a walnut. And that way they could store potatoes for a very, very long time.
My brain just went,
generally
potatoes are
enjoy.
stored in the balls.
It did.
Why?
Thing is, I was this close to saying it looks like a bullock, but I thought that would be disrespectful to the
That
Inca.
might be fine.
So I said a
You
walnut.
get a nerd dice, Khalil, but what the audience needs to take away from this is that potatoes are stored in balls.
I was going to say
Someone
that
put
I
a-
genuinely
Anyways.
really
Someone
enjoy
put a
the
Mr.
science
Potato
facts.
Head emote.
Anyways, shall we knock on this poor woman's door?
Um,
And
Yeah.
maybe
Did
tell
you-
her her
did-
husband's a pile of
did you-
ash.
Is all four of us turning up at once going to be too much?
I don't want us all to be there, so should Muck and I just kind of go and like sit somewhere else?
Or you could maybe
Yeah,
keep watch.
Yeah.
that's-
We'll
yeah.
not be far away, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
as in
we
like
can keep watch.
Nimbo,
we've got
and
sinless
Blurto.
going around, we got people after us,
Mm.
so
But I just want to throw it out, just because if it's true, I feel like a boss. But the name and everything is giving me half-orc vibes. So if you need a half-orc helping hand, then let me know. But if not, yeah, I'll be keeping watch.
we'll do.
all right, Nimbo and Blurta, you knock on Josie's door. After a brief moment, you hear the sound of the door unlocking, and it opens, revealing a dwarven woman. Yeah, can I help you?
Are you Josu?
Yeah, I am. Who are you?
My name is Blurta, and this is my friend Nimbo. We're adventurers, and we're looking into some of the disappearances. I'm wondering if, like, you might be able to help us out at all.
Don't worry, we're not from the government. We're just
No.
freelancers.
Make a deception check.
Can I give him advantage on that somehow?
Nope.
Oh, well, we've already got
He
advantage
already
on all
has
charisma checks.
from
Oh, yeah.
the yeah.
We're not cops.
15.
Okay. Okay. Right. Have you found him?
Not yet. That's why we've come to you. We just
Make a persuasion check.
fuck you. No.
Is this with advantage?
With advantage, I got a 4, and I'm thinking whether to use my moment of awesome. Yeah, I might use my moment of awesome.
Okay, yeah. You go ahead and re-roll. You can re-roll 1 dice. Oh, no. Is
9.
it worth adding a nerd dice?
No, that didn't go in my box. Actually, 16.
Okay.
Thank you, Inca. Wonderful people.
Right. Okay. Come on in.
Thank you.
You enter. It's a very modest apartment, and Jozu is not alone. Inside, you find as well her friend Kiko, who is a Harengon, who looks equally nervous when you walk in until Jozu affirms her that her husband has not yet been found.
Out of courtesy, I will put my mace and my javelin by the door, and come in completely unarmed.
Do they have like an umbrella stand? Just like
Yeah.
There is not an umbrella stand, no. Right. So you've not found Drun yet.
No.
we're basically at the fact-finding stage at this point. Like there have been, as you probably know, several other disappearances among similar circumstances. And we're just trying to see if there's any kind of pattern between them.
I see. I'm not sure how I can help. I mean, he disappeared on one of his drinking nights.
Well,
mean-
there's some gaps in our knowledge about how he lived, who he'd been associating with. Was Drannon in trouble with anyone at the time of his disappearance? Had he been consorting with any new people?
No, no one. He wasn't very social. He went to work on the farm, just outside of town, and he'd spend all of his money on drink.
Okay. But
I don't know if he really had any friends, any associates.
might he have been in any kind of debt or trouble from that drinking?
Jozu says, "Well, I don't think so," and Kiko just scoffs.
Can I insight
He
that?
probably.
Oh, if she's going to.
Can I finish my? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kiko now speaks. He probably was in debt, at least running up his tabs at the Weasel.
Okay.
And the Weasel's probably not a great place to not pay your tab, I assume.
Not the best place not to pay your tab, but John was a big guy. They probably had him help out with something. I mean, honestly, it's a good thing he's gone.
This might seem a weird question, but how did you two meet?
Jozu and Kiko look at each other. Us two, or me
No,
and
no. You
John?
and your missing
husband.
Just because if he's such an an antisocial person, I was just
he
curious.
Didn't used to be. He met at an arm wrestling competition. I kicked his ass.
Nice.
Tiny
I go
dwarf,
for a high five.
big Goliath. She high fives you. It is a firm high five.
So was that her saying he's a Goliath?
You get the impression he's a Goliath, yeah. You get the impression this woman's a manual laborer of some kind.
Is the handle
seems
rough?
To be keeping in shape. Yeah.
You just
like
slightly
stone
dislocate your
or
shoulders,
something.
you do it.
So it would be
No,
fair.
he was a lot better when we were younger, but age, he started drinking more and more. It's not entirely his fault, and I don't care what you think, Kiko. He was a good man at one point.
Did he happen to know any of the others who have gone missing?
I didn't. I'd be surprised if he did.
I mean, yeah, from what you're saying, if he was not very social, it seems unlikely. But obviously, we just want to be meticulous in these things.
Of course.
Have you in a more general sense, have you noticed anything unusual over the past couple of months around here? Any noises, any weird sights and new people around, other than us, of course?
I've heard the eagles usually comes out close to the city. I've heard an eagle.
Ah, nice.
Oh, intriguing.
But that's the only thing, really.
Okay.
There's not a lot of new people around, especially.
Just to quickly check back a second, did you say that the mayor had only been elected relatively recently?
A few months ago. Around the same time as the disappearances started.
Okay. And would that also correlate with when there was that escape of the eagle and
the escape and the disappearances are exactly same time, 4 months ago. Mayor was about 6 months ago.
Okay, so that, I mean, and has anyone from the Crest Guard been to see you about this previously?
Prescott doesn't do anything.
Yeah, they suck.
Hmm.
And when we're talking about Crestguard and government and stuff like that, the mayor,
Mhm.
you know, what vibe do you get off him? We're new in town. We're freelancers just
haven't met
passing
him.
through, so
I mean, I haven't met the guy.
Uh,
He's a rich noble.
is he from round here? Was he known before he got elected, or did he
Yeah,
just kind
definitely.
of turn up and sweep into power?
Well, he was always his barony is a bit out of town, I believe, but he was relatively local.
Okay.
I mean, just our line of thinking here is just like all this stuff seems to have been happening a bit since he took office, and was wondering if there had been any like changes in the politics which might have enabled this somehow.
Yeah, what was he running
You're
on?
asking the wrong person.
That's
What they
fair.
always run on. They're going to drive more trade here and make everything better for everyone. And the only one who it becomes better for is him and his rich buddies.
Yeah, there's only two things that trickle down, and neither of them are money.
That's exactly right. He was a change. Same family had been in charge of the city for about 20 years before that. So, people vote for the new guy.
Who was that?
One moment. Look at someone else. I don't
Sorry,
remember
this
all
is not
these
me
things.
trying to fuck with you and try and get you to access your deep lore. This is just us looking for potential enemies of our enemy.
Yep, no, that's absolutely fine. It's just this is not in the document that I've been using for this session.
His name is Gary.
The Gary
His name
family.
is Gary Garrettson. Actually, the last one was a woman. Her
Gary?
name
Yeah.
was
Gary.
With IE
No,
on the end.
her name.
Garatha.
Her name.
My friends call me Gary.
Yeah, Gaz. Big Gaz.
Her name.
It's just with an I.
Triscana Stonevale.
My friends call me Trisky.
Triscana Stonevale, former mayor. Yeah.
Former mayor. And the mayor, if you want to know the mayor before her, because I do have that now.
Nope.
Why not? Just
Absolutely do not want to know.
It's not relevant.
Same last name. Same last name.
Ah.
First name was Vanellis.
Vanellis. Sounds like a disease.
Her father was the mayor before her.
Who only had sex in missionary.
Oh dear. Is there anything else you want to ask these
Thank
ladies?
you so much, madam.
Can I ask you for a favor? You say you're investigating these disappearances.
Absolutely.
I don't know if anyone's paying for you for this. Frankly, if you find my husband, I don't want him back.
That's
Can
perfectly
you tell
fine.
him
That's
that?
fair.
Yep.
We can
Fine.
pass that on.
I mean, if you want, I'll
Thank you.
even slap him if you like.
I don't think that's quite necessary.
Go on,
Kiko pipes in. I'd like you to smack him. Kiko. Just
Okay,
please
that's
ignore
one
her.
vote each way. We'll see how it goes on.
Have you got any specific words you'd like to pass on?
And I'm very sorry it's had to end this way. But I found someone else.
Insight
She
check.
gently places her hand on Kiko. She places her hand on
Okay.
Kiko's knee. Do you still want to
Well,
insight check?
I want to insight check that just in case it's like, yes, I murdered him.
Worth to make an insight check.
They're just friends,
9.
and that's what history will say.
They're
Yes.
lesbians,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
No, they were flatmates who were found buried with a lock of each other's hair.
Having intercourse.
who may or may not
They were
have
found
murdered
buried in
one of their
69.
husbands.
Good.
Unlike
69
Vanillas. Okay. With a 9, she seems to be being truthful as far as you can tell.
Well, she's not going to be summoning death spells, is she? Thank you so much, madam. I know this is probably a weird time, not necessarily the worst time, it sounds like, but we'll be sure to pass word on if we do come across your husband.
If you want us to, that is anyway.
Thank you. I do want you to. I just told you my message for him.
Oh, no, I meant to tell you that. Yeah, but that's fine.
Okay. Well,
All right, thank you.
Good luck with your investigation, I suppose.
And best of luck to both of you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Close the door gently behind you, and the two of you head downstairs to rejoin Em and Muck. And that's where we're going to pick up after our 5-minute break. We will be back at, let's call it a 7-ish minute break. We'll be back at 1/4 to the hour. All right. See you soon, folks. Oh dear. I'm sorry to tell you this, Katanga, but I'm afraid that this misery high bluff you keep talking about has just been a figment of your imagination.
Can Katanga make an insight check?
Absolutely.
Do you want me to roll deception?
No point, because that was a natural 1.
Well, if I notice this mid smooch, can I flick my tongue out for a quick taste?
Sure. Make a sleight of hand check, I guess.
What is
Sleight
with
of
your
tongue.
characters and tasting things?
Mate, we've talked about these these body image issues, and like you can't be comparing yourself to like refreshing beverage cunt of all people.
Most of the fleas, because I assume Dream isn't actually being all that careful.
No.
So a lot of the fleas do manage to like jump ship. And
They're fleas.
I don't know what happens if you pour bleach on a flea. They might be fine.
It might disintegrate, I don't know.
Yeah.
Google it.
What happens when you bleach a flea?
Live Psychom coming straight at you.
Look, Psychom's just being... Okay, so... That name.
So when the Sex Muskets sing, "God save the Queen," do they
Yeah.
actually literally?
Yeah,
mean
they're
Yeah.
quite sincere. A fascist regime, which we approve of.
it's
I
the,
called out with my own deep throaty alarm call as well.
What are you doing down here?
Oh, we're just taking a shortcut. Just traffic.
We're fumigating for sewer clowns here. You can't be here.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I've been called worse, but you better shut your mouth.
We all know the real sewer clown is Elon Musk and his tunnels, so... Kick me off Twitter, Elon, I dare you.
So, Boomslang will disguise himself as Reginar and be Big Spoon.
Okay. So,
I got you, buddy.
so we cut to a scene where this Yuan-Ti, this snake person, is spooning a pudding angel.
No. Snake person disguised as a halfling.
Yes. Oh, you're even bigger a spoon than I remember.
Yeah, I just I used to have that energy.
Delightful, angel, delightful. And then we fade to
Oh, is
black.
that your full name?
Fade to black of spooning.
I don't want to miss a thing.
So you see in the room Eridark Ariesis, who is a pallid elf fighter gunslinger. Do I have guns? Do I fuck?
Your earwax.
Would it? Do you think?
Let's go.
I'm wondering if I misheard the question.
This
I
doesn't
don't know, I
need
was
this
put on the
doesn't need
spot.
context.
Nah.
Let's move on.
No context on this.
So we've just left Wife's
And
house.
Muck. Before that, M and Muck, you have found a place to perch. There's not really anywhere to sit other than just down on the ground outside of Jazu's apartment building. You've probably got about 20-25 minutes before Nimbo and WtR are going to come back. So what is it that you two get up to in this time?
Well, I think we'd definitely be keeping watch to see if there's anything out of the ordinary around.
Do we need to do a roll for that?
Nope. No. There's
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muck is like in a really deep squat and just kind of like going from side to side, like stretching it out, just staying ready for any action, even though none eventually arrives.
No, there's nothing concerning that happens. Otherwise, I would have jumped back to you two earlier.
Muck, we've not had like a real moment to just stop and think. Like before we left town, that was really intense. And how are you doing?
Yeah, I guess that's just kind of like family, right? Like whenever I go home, something happens, like something I just don't want to deal with. So actually, like immediately rolling out and walking through a new place and just distracting myself with other people's problems. I mean, that's kind of how I deal with stuff usually anyway. So, I mean, yeah, I guess my mum and my fiance's father are in leagues together. But I guess, if they're arranging marriages, I'm not surprised they're doing something else evil on the side. Yeah, I'm just not looking forward to going back, to be honest. But it was nice to start a fire, cause some trouble. That was very cathartic.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah, of course.
I wasn't the only fire I started that day.
What do you mean? Like a camp?
No. Do you remember the really horrible tailor that we met earlier that day when we were looking to buy a dress?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, after you all went to sleep, I went back and I set his shop on fire.
Like how much? But there was smoke, wasn't there? On purpose. Did you do it on purpose?
Yeah. I mean, he killed Yarrow.
Yeah, he did. You know what? Fair enough. Like we've all had our blunders, right?
But I guess my point is that, like, we do things in anger, and your family... I mean, it wasn't a nice experience for any of us, never mind you. And I can't imagine how you must have been feeling in that moment, and that just made me think about how I was feeling later that day. And yeah, I'm sorry that you have to deal with that with family. Families are tough.
Yeah, thanks, Em. Yeah, in that moment, I definitely wanted to just burn it all down. So
maybe one day we will.
I'll hold you to that.
I mean, if we don't get there first, then WtR will first, right?
Oh, I'm not giving her the pleasure of burning my shit down.
Nimbo will probably try and talk us all out of it, but like we can win.
We won't tell him.
We'll win him round. He'll come on board and do it with us.
Yeah, we'll tell him that my God told me to do it or something.
Oh no! Don't lie to him like that. You can't.
Maybe my God will tell me to do it. He's a criminal, right?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Huh? Oh, I told you about the whole idol thing, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, just like how I'm basically like a champion of the god of justice and criminals. It just kind of happened.
Criminals, though.
Yeah, I mean, like some crimes are good, and some people who claim to uphold the law are bad. So really, they're two sides of the same coin. The law doesn't define what's good and evil.
Who does? Do the gods?
Intrusive thought just telling me to say, I do. Like Muck's dark arc starts now.
Muck is vengeance. Muck is the night.
No, the gods don't decide. Like, it's just about doing what's right for, not necessarily for everybody. It's just about not exploiting people and treating people like shit and giving people a bit of freedom to just be who they are, as long as they're not hurting anybody. And like not making anyone get married when they don't want to get married.
Well,
I guess.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. But what about some of the less nice folks that we've met? Would they be represented by that god? Like, what about the sinless folks that we've met?
To be fair, what do we know that they've done that's bad, apart from crime? But we've covered that. Crime could be okay, depending on the crime. Well, they've got cool tats. Is that a sin now?
No, it's not on me to bear judgment on body art. But I think it's. I have a general distrust for the gods. And I think it's worth bearing in mind that the messages they send forward might have their own agenda at times, and they might not be telling you the truth. Or Nimbo.
I guess that's
or
true.
WtR, or me, or any of us.
I feel like, I've thought about these things, and even like coming on Crest Guard and stuff, thinking about whether that's really all it's kind of like touted to be in terms of helping and whatnot. But I think, I think about these things for myself. Maybe that's why it all chose me, because the law is the law and that, but the way my dad makes his money is legal, but that's evil as shit,
Yeah.
So I might believe in him, but I'm not like obedient. Does that make sense? And if he wants to judge me, he can judge me. But I think for now he's given me a fair few hints. But if he crosses me, I'll kill him.
I'll be right behind you when you do.
Thanks, Em.
Nimbo and WtR eventually join you with all of the information they got from Jozu and her girlfriend. Where would you like to go next?
Well,
the plan.
Oh, sorry. You tell us what you found.
Well, it doesn't seem like this guy's going to be missed. By his wife at least. Didn't really seem to have many associations. Hadn't been getting into any particular trouble. Might have owed a bit of money at the Grey Weasel, which, being a criminal pub, might have got him in trouble. But I mean, there's one thing having a bar tab at a dodgy bar, and there's another thing getting turned into ash by rogue magic.
I think if we perhaps just take a quick route around and see if there are. I'm assuming we're a bit away from the house at this point. If we're walking.
No.
Okay.
You have not told me where you're going, so no.
Okay,
You're
can I-
standing
We'll dip
there
into an
until
alley
you
for a
decide
chat
where
or
you're
something.
Yeah,
going.
different one out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an apartment complex. You're not standing outside our front door.
Yeah. Just like, oh yeah, he's definitely dead. Just outside the front door. No, but I was going to suggest we detour via the missing Sinless and via missing and Dolores' daughter spots and see if there's corresponding piles of ash there.
Dolores was back at the place we were staying, so we should.
Dolores' daughter disappeared in the district
Oh,
you're currently
On the
in.
map,
Okay.
we can sort of like
Okay.
arc around there and maybe up to the library then.
I mean, sure, yeah. Let's not. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
not
Quest-
spend.
Yeah,
Let's not spend too much role play time. I think
Yeah.
on that because
Yeah.
like
No, I will also point out that it is probably around 3:30 in the afternoon. If you want to spend time actually investigating these other two locations, you're not going to get to the library till about 5-ish.
I
You
mean,
don't know when it closes.
You know, librarians,
didn't-
they're fucking out of there as soon as they're.
I didn't want to like investigate them fully. I just wanted to see if there was ash, basically. But we can always do that later.
we can come back and look for Ash after the library
Yeah.
closes.
What does Ash tell us that other
Well,
than it
so
happened?
if we're just as confirmation that
Yeah.
all of these missing people have been killed by these spells.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're assuming that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we can corroborate that. I think maybe later. Let's
that-
get to the library
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. And the other thing to consider is that we don't know if the spells that we fought were the only ones or there are multiple different instances of them.
You do not know that. No.
No. Which is hopefully something we can get a bit more info on from the library.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Making your way through the district of Cold Sprawl back into the old Elmsford, with its the difference in like quality of life between these two districts is very obvious. You've left the poor, crowded part of town, and you are now surrounded by mansions and houses in very good upkeep. You make your way through the market past the main temples and eventually come to the library bar, which is a very extravagant building. And tucked away next to it is a much simpler sign that just reads the library, which seems to be the actual book place rather than pub. It is still open. It's like one of those secondhand bookshops where you don't quite know how many corridors there are. And when you turn around, suddenly it's like there's a whole new section of books that you hadn't discovered yet. It is a bit cramped. It's not particularly busy. And you hear very soft music coming from the basement.
Should we go check out the basement?
Is there like a bell on somewhere?
Nope. No, there's a couple of people browsing, but
Yeah. I mean, it does seem to be the only place where. Yeah, let's follow the music. I'm gonna
the
follow
music is the kind of music you'd expect to hear in a temple. Soft, and something about it makes your mind sort of start wandering, thinking about places you've been, places you'd like to go, places you've never thought about before.
Oh, so it's Brian Eno.
No confirmation.
Yeah.
No confirmation. That means.
Or maybe Boards of Canada? I've been to Canada, though.
I'm not familiar with them. You head down the stairs and find this room just has books lining most of the walls, except at the far end, where instead of shelves with books, there seems to be a relatively freshly painted blank wall with things scribbled all over it. Words, numbers, ciphers, and humming along to the music, which is being played by a piano, which is playing itself. You see a young human who is tending to the altar that is in front of the blank wall.
Wait, is it blank wall
Welcome.
or is it covered in?
It's blank,
sigils?
but it's not covered in sigils, but it's like a whiteboard almost
Mm-hmm.
that gets repainted whenever someone wants to start writing something new. So it's not covered, but there are bits that have been written on.
Can I read any of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As you approach, the human welcomes you to the library and the temple of Belov and introduces themselves as Ka-Rel.
This feels like the first human we've met. Should we just kill them?
I mean, my dad's a human and he sucks. So yeah.
let's not like profile an entire race. Wow, self-hating human.
No, Nimbo, go ahead and make me a general intelligence check, please.
Varia, guide me. 6.
Oh.
The equations are beyond you. You're not sure what they're meant to be calculating. The ciphers aren't religious. They're not what you'd expect to see in a temple. And the text seems to be quotes, possibly, but you wouldn't know from where. Not any text you've read in the past.
Hello.
Are you just browsing, or is there any way I can help?
We did have a little bit of a query. How familiar are you with the matters of the arcane? I see you're a person of divinity like me. But
I'm fairly well trained, but I also have all these books, 4 floors of them. If I don't know, I'm sure we can find something that will.
Lovely. Do you know? Is there a book that we could find some information about rogue magic or malfunctioning sentient spells or anything like that?
That's not a question I've been asked before, but quite possibly. Just gonna. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm surprised someone's asked. I have read a book about this, which is up on the 2nd floor. If you'd like to read it as well. I don't remember all the details, so I'd be happy to tell you what I do recall. And you can, of course, borrow the book.
Thank you. So, yeah, what do you know?
Well, rogue magic. Are you referring to living spells?
Yes.
They're little understood phenomenon. It seems to be, well, at least this book theorizes that it's magic that lingers beyond its own natural lifespan, and eventually then achieves a will and a sentience of its own. Doesn't grant them immunity for things which would dispel magic ordinarily, but their rule magic is still disrupted by such efforts. I've never encountered one myself, of course, but dispelling magic is something I do have to do here occasionally. People bring all sorts of books.
How do they come into existence? How are they created?
Well, they occasionally emerge from shattered magical items, the corpses of spellcasters slain mid-cast. Though I believe they're more commonly manifest in areas where magic itself has been strained to a breaking point. Zones of wild magic, points of intrusion by eldritch outsiders, sites of great magic battles or catastrophes, things like that. Arcane jewel grounds as well. They seem to produce a variety of living spells, which are composed of a muddling of all of the spells that have been cast in those vessels. They're really quite the whole time you've been walking up this spiral staircase, which has been taking you up past just towers of books. Karel, still talking, drags a ladder over, climbs it, and immediately grabs the right book before bringing it down and handing it over to you. Anyways, that's all I recall, but this book might have a bit more information for you.
What do
It's an odd question. May I ask why you're so interested in this? No offense, you don't look like academics.
We're investigating some potential arcane disturbances in the area around Elmsford. We're just trying to cover all the bases, you know?
Well, that's only sensible.
Do they have
I
any
do have to ask, this book doesn't leave the library, though. It's the only copy that I know of.
Okay.
And it's the only one that isn't purely theoretical on the matter of living spells. So if they are real, then that's quite a valuable resource.
What? I mean, this may be the answer will be like, read the book, that'll have a better idea. But like, do they have any purpose to existing? Like, do
any of us?
That's a very philosophical question.
Like, personally,
you are in the right place for such questions.
But like,
I've just taken psychic damage.
I mean, personally, my purpose is that I'm awesome and therefore I exist. But in terms of these spells, do they have like an objective in their existence? Like, can they be commanded, or do they just do a thing?
I don't know. You know what? I think the book might have touched on the subjects, but I don't quite recall.
Okay, that's fair enough. We'll have a peruse.
Do you have any books about the history of the area as well? Because, you know, the history of any... You mentioned magical battles. If there are any notable occurrences of that, or if there have been any like really famous magic users, really powerful magic users living in the area.
Well, I don't know anything about battles. There have been some famous magic users, though. There was a couple of centuries ago. There was an Ankaina. What was their name? I'll have to look that up. But a very powerful sorcerer, who I believe helped in defeating the Tobergian Empire when they attempted to invade after we gained our freedom from them. Let me go and find that book for you, and I'll leave you with this one for the time being.
I'm not going to say it out loud, but would this be Shohul?
No.
This is different, right?
Yeah. Different. Shohul was much longer ago.
I was very specific in the way I said that, guys.
You were. I am very grateful. I'm just looking up. Shohul would have been 1,200 years ago.
This was
about 200 years ago.
Okay.
And Shohul wasn't a sorcerer, to our knowledge.
No, Shohul was a paladin.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will now go and take out his name.
You don't need to. You can hold on to that for a bit.
Okay. Well, in that case, you do have this book in front of you, which it's not a book fully about living spells. It seems to be more of a book about like weird experimental magics. Please do not ask me about them. I will start making things up. But there is a section on living spells in it. Reading through, So Karel rolled real good on his Arcana check, or on their Arcana check, which is why they remembered a lot. What you do discover now is that though the means have not yet been perfected, this book seems to indicate that certain mages have claimed the ability to create wands out of trapped living spells. Which means would allow the mage to then cast the spells that use similar powers.
Okay.
So that would save them a great deal of their own arcane power, but the ones remain unruly and need to be handled very carefully so that the living spells don't escape. Living spells seem to be... they don't seem to be able to be commanded in any way. They just seem to be sort of rogue forces whose only purpose that they know is to destroy, because of the accumulation of magic that just sort of continues to swirl inside.
Do they move around?
Yes.
Okay.
Once their kind of incarnation in the physical world is destroyed, is that the end of that particular living spell?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have destroyed 4.
Yes.
So we don't know whether there are more out and about. We haven't seen any effects other than kinetic, necrotic, and fire. And we do know that, you know, little holes have been appearing in the universe, between the universes, all over the place. So that could be a point of intrusion that would let magic through in the form of living spells.
Yeah.
And, you know, it might be that different planes bring different forms of spell or something.
It's possible.
So like fire, death, stuff like that.
Yeah. There is also a list of potential... it's difficult to tell if these are all ones that have been observed by the author or if some of them are hypothetical, but you definitely pick out 3 which sound like the spells you fought. There was the Killing Ward, created from spells like Mage Armor or Shields, or at least having similar energy to that. There was the Splutter Flame, and there was the Living Blasphemy. There is several other examples given, such as Wandering Lightning, a Roving Hand, which is a Big B's hand. Yes, hello. The things like a Chaos Ball, which seems to stem from a Chromatic Orb. A Chrono Fog, which might appeal to M, coming from spells like Haste or Slow. And 2 particularly concerning ones: the Pestilent Wind, similar to a Cloud Kill, and Rift Blade, similar to a Blade of Disaster. I am happy to send you the complete list of examples now that you have found this book.
Yes, please. Roving Hand and what was the Chaos Ball?
Pestilent Wind.
Pestilent Wind,
Chaos Ball.
It is fair to say I did not come up with these names.
No, you're covering your
gold
tracks
credits.
now. You did. You absolutely
I mean,
did.
I've been
genuinely
called
did
living
not.
blasphemy before, so that makes sense.
Oh dear.
Right, so we have this information.
Yes.
And we're waiting for Carol to come back with some information about like, you know, magical battles nearby, local history, who this unseen sorcerer was, stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it sounds like, from our experience over the last few weeks, there's a good chance that this stuff is coming through holes in the world.
It is a definite possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have several hypotheses here. So the holes in the world, definitely one. 2, like if there was an ancient battle, they just kind of left fallow. from then, and for some reason I've been awakened. 3, it's the mayor's fault somehow.
I mean, those things are not mutually exclusive.
No.
Indeed.
It could be that there was a great battle that weakened the gap, weakened the barriers between the worlds, and the mayor is somehow exploiting that by poking the holes, making them a bit wider.
Karel
It would
comes.
make sense for like all of these interconnected things to be working in tandem. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a cohesive D&D campaign.
M suddenly gets a small nosebleed.
You discover
veil.
the person who decides what's good and what's evil in this world, and she's wearing a red hat.
What does narratively satisfying mean?
Things that look like many threads may all be part of a whole. I am not revealing right behind my laptop
Show
screen. I
hole.
just have a
Show
wall
hole.
of like interconnected bits with pieces of string. In the middle is just a cat's butt. Karel comes back with a volume on history of the area, which they are happy to borrow or to let you borrow. It will take it's a hefty volume, so it will take some time to read through. And the name of the sorcerer and a smaller volume on their life. This was an Unsina called Plume of Smoke, and they seemed to. They weren't necessarily from Salor, or at least they didn't consider themselves to be, but they lived in the Briskwold Mountains, and they sided with Salor in a war against the Tobergian Empire.
I will just kind of mutter under my breath, going, I didn't give myself my name, but I do feel like sometimes it can be... It feels as though we're just kind of blowing smoke up our own arses at times. What a strange name.
I mean, you can be Bart if you want. Like,
No, I'm fine being M. M's good. It makes sense. That name doesn't.
Like, how
Well,
old
maybe
were you
they
when you
were
left
kind
your family?
Sorry, glitched for a moment. I heard two voices. Blurter.
You go, Alex.
How old were you when you left your family?
I was about 5 years ago.
And to be honest, like, I've not met many of your people. Like, what are unkind years to non-unkind years?
Well, I was still a child like you would have been at the time, but I didn't have a name.
Oh, so did you choose your own name?
No, Granny gave me this.
Nice, it suits you.
Thank you. I washed up in the snow.
And you got lovely emerald eyes.
All comes together. Plume of smoke, though. Maybe there's something more there.
Well, maybe they were kind of, they drifted around and kind of
Things on
moved with the
fire.
wind, and
There's always fire
Maybe-
with you.
Well, smoke comes from fire.
Yeah. I think it's a good point on both on both of what you're saying. Maybe they drifted around. Maybe it's fire. Maybe it's...
Or maybe it's just a color thing. They're just like a stylish one of those sort of like grey with a little bit of purple in it.
Yeah. Anyway,
but then
let's read into the history of it. Well, sorry, Nimbo, I don't want to cut you off.
No. I was going down a full tangent. Sorry, but I haven't been around this many books since school, so it's kind of, put me back in that mindset.
We'll get you some comics. We'll take them out.
Anything else you want to do in here?
Would also like to ask about or find some kind of book about Um, Chaos and what her whole deal is, and her role in the like, not whole deal. I'm not gonna make you do that. But like,
You want the whole deal because I do have that.
like Chaos's relationship with the other gods,
Okay.
like what any like theoretical theology books as that are
Mhm.
like hypothesizing why she doesn't have another half.
Okay.
Like all the
Interesting.
gods have two halves to them, and why is this one god just devoted to destruction? Is she ontologically different from the other deities? Is she like somehow like of different origin? So like Loki was part giant or whatever,
Mhm.
in Norse mythology. So yeah,
Mhm.
why is she so unique?
Okay. Yeah, Carell does dig out a couple of books, but
Are they all bound in like black leather?
no,
They scream when you open them.
they are very much dry scholarly texts. And Carell suggests that instead of reading about this, the best knowledge to be gained about Chaos might be at her temple.
Oh no, the cinema. We could just watch it, right?
Sometimes the best information comes not from the written word, but from the spoken. And there are quite a few devotees to Chaos here in Elmsford. They would probably give you better insight than these books written by those who do not necessarily see her in a favorable light.
A good friend of
But you are
mine.
welcome to borrow them.
Thank you.
The other possibility here is that destruction is not like creation and destruction are just kind of different forms of the same thing. Like a plant, you might view a plant growing in a rock as creation of life, but it is destroying the rock and taking the water in the process. It is just a continuous exchange.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I'm surprised that that isn't acknowledged so much in our common understanding of chaos because you know what you're talking about is how a good friend of mine talked about chaos. But I don't think that's how she is typically understood and typically worshipped. Yeah, back home, I had a mentor who, just like me, worship fires and another god. So worshipping an aspect of nature. Um, but yeah, Cinder worshipped the destructiveness of nature. But like you said, that also brings with it creation. So if there's a forest fire, yes, it might look like desolation, destruction, and death. But then it afterwards you get this whole blooming of plants that some of them need the fire to let their seeds germinate, and you get all of the essence of those trees that burned returning to the soil and feeding those new plants, and the sunlight suddenly reaches the ground that it hadn't for a long time. So I know that that is a way that you can look at destruction. I don't understand why it seems like the the worshippers of chaos tend to only look at it one way round.
When you
And
speak,
I think you would enjoy speaking with Sylvanese.
with who?
The Sylvanese. She's the priestess of cows.
sorry, that's her name is Silvanese now.
Sylvanese.
Um, I mean, question for you, Nimbo. So, like, I appreciate this is currently a sore subject. But when you have spoken with your gods in the past, like, do they explicitly identify themselves as like I am the god of this thing and this thing, or is that just an assumption that we, as mortals, put upon them?
It's somewhere between the two. It's more of a feeling, and it's hard to explain. I don't want to. I don't want to sound patronizing, but it's hard to explain unless you felt it. Um, you know, when someone really loves you, you can feel what form that love takes.
No.
And oh yeah, sorry, I realize tough crowd.
Just like
Look,
do like a cut to each
looking
of
at
us
the three most
individually.
dysfunctional family upbringing. Um, it's it's that when you commune with a deity, without it being necessarily verbalized or codified, you get a tidal wave of sensations and feelings that you end up rationalizing in your own head using language. And so the words that we use to describe divinity are are the clumsy tools that we as mortals try to use to grasp at the infinite complexity and depth of what the power and supreme consciousness of a divine being can be. So when we talk about, for example, Varea as the goddess of balance and life and death, or when we talk about Vias as the god of, nature in its cyclical, cyclical being, those are just the best the best framework we have as mortals to use language to understand and describe and share those mind-blowing cocktails of color and sensation and wordless meaning.
I've never thought about how to put it into words, but yeah, that pretty much sums it up.
Like, just a slightly tangent there. Does that mean like Vias is also god of like a
Plastic.
lifeless? Yeah.
Hasn't been
god
invented
of
yet.
like a Saint Star Park.
No, Vias is, and stop me if I'm wrong, Dagmar. Vias's duality comes from the cyclical nature of the kind of life, death, and nature's like nurturing comfortingness, and also harsh hostileness.
Yes. Yeah.
And so again, it's not as much of a binary as the language that we use about it would imply. Just like all of these gods, just like when Muck was talking about crime and law, like Idal, and I don't want to speak too much about something that I'm not an expert on, but the laws of mortals change over time, and they're decided by people and power relationships. But our relationship with structure and our relationship with society is what drives that part of people's relationship with Idol's divinity.
Okay. So, I don't give me the detailed answer to this, because we don't just want to info dump our audience constantly. But does this pantheon, like, are they all like a family, or are they just like sort of entities that exist?
Mix of both.
Right. I think you said one
Varea
was brother and sister.
or Vias has referred to Varea as his sister. Whether or not that is in the spiritual sense or in the familial sense is unclear to you. There seem to be similar sort of relationships that at least are assumed by religious people, like Castas, god of war, and Chorus, the deity of the home, are often spoken of as siblings as well.
But it could also be that, once again, those
it-
words that we use, like sibling,
Yes.
are more the closest thing that mortals have to understanding that relationship between beings that actually probably didn't come out of a womb, literally. And so they don't necessarily have parental relationships like we do as biological beings.
It's not a Greek god situation.
No. Yeah. And like the creation myths of how the gods were created are all like they vary depending on who you ask. It's a scholarly debate more than anything, which is why I've not brought it up at any point.
Does Chaos sort of share in those creation myths in the same sort of role as the others?
Yeah.
So it's not like
most of them, yeah.
So it's not like she predates the others or anything like
not that you know of.
No. Okay, so I mean, I think we should go to like the temple and follow up on this. But what I'm getting is probably when people commune with Chaos, they get the vibe that she's a bad bitch, and
Kind of like you.
Exactly.
Oh wow, maybe you're a goddess of destruction. I mean, we've seen you fight, so.
I mean, you say that, Mister Set the Boat on Fire.
Yeah, that was accidental. That like I was mainly trying to get myself in that tentacle.
Are you heading out of the library towards the temple?
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking the 2 scholarly books about cows?
Were we allowed to take those?
The Chaos ones we're allowed to take, just not the
And the
living
history
spell one.
book. Yeah, you can't bring the living spell one because Karel doesn't know about any other copies about it. The history books are fine.
Can I just transcribe any pertinent passages from the
You've got access to those now, so if you want them for me, just let me know.
Yeah.
As you're heading out, Karel asks if you could please bring the books back in 2 days at most, or let them know if it's going to take longer.
Okay. I will write. Shall I do those in my inventory?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's 2
and,
times.
And if you make a note to remember,
Chaos.
we can
2
keep
day
each other.
return.
I have added it in as well, and I will add it to the calendar, which I will send to you.
1 time of history.
Right. You want to go to the Temple of Chaos next. As you walk up the steps and enter this building, which from a distance looks like it is crumbling apart, but upon closer inspection appears to just have been designed this way to look as if it is constantly on the verge of collapse. You open the heavy wooden doors and step into a dark space lit only by the light of flickering candles. And that is where we're going to pick up next week. So you
spooky.
Learn more about the goddess of destruction. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, me
Things
too.
are starting to come together. You
We're going to
didn't
the
make it to
goth
the Fight
temple.
Club. You're in the Goth Temple. There's a Fight Club on the schedule, potentially. Right, folks, who is your MVP this week? Who still has MVPs?
Yeah, that's. I think I do.
Yes, I think Blurta still has one. I think
I
M still
used
has
mine if I
one.
had one.
No
If I
idea.
had one.
I think M and Blurt, because last time it got brought up that Muck was the only one who didn't have one, so if no one used it, Muck would have to get it automatically.
So it's me or Nimbo.
And Muck, yeah.
So does...
Or you can decide if it's not one of them, you can give it in title to M or Blurta. They just can't get a benefit from it.
So what did we accomplish?
I'm looking at my notes like
Blurta did some great gossiping, which was
Yeah.
helpful in getting lots of information.
it was. Nimbo ended up explaining like the whole concept of religion and God, which was quite,
You're doing a
It's
really
like
good
a
job
doggy
of it. I didn't have to jump
Yeah.
in once.
Yeah.
Then like M, had the juggling piker, although that
Yeah,
turned
that was
turned
good.
out to not be as much of a
Nope.
much of a benefit. I mean, I guess
Very funny though.
in my game, if you send a juggling animal over, then you'll definitely get advantage. So it's about knowing your audience, I guess.
Can we give the player
It
of the week
just
Yarrow?
wasn't the right situation for
just
the
wasn't the
juggling
right
piker to be
animal.
helpful.
Yarrow is
If it'd been a juggling chameleon or something, then.
Yeah.
Hey, can we just give the dice to Yarrow specifically?
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
think-
I'd be up for that.
No, no. I'm gonna say no.
Okay, I think my vote goes to Nimbo for the theology lecture.
Me too.
I quite liked Muck's Muck and M's heart to heart.
That was
That
nice.
was nice.
Yeah.
It's revealed their
Yeah, so I think my
Told me
vote
about
got
the
to Muck.
pilot.
Yeah, I would say with Muck.
Muck becomes our MVP then. And we will be back next Sunday to explore the Goth Temple. Any other announcements, Sam?
Nope. We're all
Before we
good.
head out? Are we raiding anyone?
No, not this evening.
We're not raiding anyone this evening. So you know what, folks? Go home. If you're not in your home. Just go
If you're out of the club.
Good night. We love you.
You've been
Free
watching the
Palestine.
show.
Catch you next time.
Amen.
Goodbye.
Like Khalil said.